Greetings to all of you. I'm Candy Marshall with TheDream.Us, and I have the honor of welcoming you to the commencement for our 2020 graduates. With those of you who graduated in the fall, we have 700 graduates. 600 of you are earning bachelor's degrees, 100 of you have earned associate degrees. To our 2020 graduates, this is a day of great joy to pause and celebrate all that you have accomplished. And to the parents joining us, you have sacrificed so much. This celebration wouldn't be possible without you. Your courage and love was the driving force that helped get your child where they are today. Today, we honor and thank you for everything you've done for your children. The Dream.Us team, and you see them in panels at the top of the screen, we find ourselves overwhelmed with emotion. Indeed, we're not quite sure how we're going to get through this celebration without crying. So we all have a box of tissue, and we're hoping you do the same. I thought about this last night. When we have our National Selection Committee come together to read and score your essays, we tell them, have a box of tissue at your side. And we can have many of those members, by the way, committee members joining us today, and we can say they did a good job because look at the number of you who have graduated. So today, we find ourselves needing this box of tissues as we celebrate your graduation. My guess is that you are as filled with emotion as we are. And we want you to share that. So we're going to ask that all of our scholars type a chat in a word in the chat box that tells us how you are feeling at this moment. The words that I would use are awe and gratitude. We would have chosen to have you walk across the stage today to get your diploma for that proud moment. Unfortunately, we're at a unique time in our history where that was not possible. All of you have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic in any number of ways. Some of you have lost your jobs. Some of you are working on the front line. And I know that some of you have lost family and friends. So before we start our celebration, let's just take a moment to honor those that we have lost and to thank those who are risking their lives every day to fight this disease. Thank you. When we started this program in 2013, we knew that in order for you to achieve your dream of a college education, you would need a scholarship. And through our generous donors, we knew we could help. What we did not anticipate is how much you, through your resilience, your determination, and your seemingly infinite hope, would impact our lives. Our scholar advisors have told us working with you is the most meaningful work they have done in their careers. Your fellow students and faculty have told us that you've changed their view of the world. Our college presidents say you raised the bar for all students on the campus. You've enriched our lives more than we ever could have imagined. On behalf of the team at TheDream.Us, all of whom are across the top of the screen, we just want to say thank you. We stand in awe of your accomplishments, and we are so grateful to have you in our lives. So let's get started. Feel free to use the chat box to share your thoughts. You can post on social media. We have a trusted reporter with us today from the USA Today, And she's going to write a story following the commencement to share your journeys to and through college. And we just want to thank her. Reporters have been such a gift to us to help share your stories. And now I am honored to introduce one of your fellow graduates. Joanna Garcia has joined us today. She just graduated with honors from Lehman College in New York City, with a Bachelor of Science in Music. In kindergarten, Joanna went to see her very first musical, and it was perfectly The Beauty and the Beast. And she was inspired to become a professional performer. She's performed at the Yankee Stadium, the Lincoln Center, and the Roundabout Theater in New York City. She hopes to continue her training and find more opportunities to allow her to grow as a performer. Today, she's going to use her voice and talent to sing our national anthem. So Joanna, over to you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Joanna, that is so beautiful. Your voice to remind us that all of us need to fight every day to ensure that the American dream is available to all people in this country. And you are clearly the evidence of why that is so. Okay, our colleague Sadhana Singh, if she's been able to work her magic in what was a pretty short period of time, has created a word cloud that will show us the words that you have shared. So Sadhana, you are so amazing. And I love it. You can see these words here. Grateful, which is very much what is in my heart today. Feeling blessed is very important. And many of you so happy. And I'm so relieved to have made it to this day. Thank you for sharing these words. I now have what is truly the best honor I could have of this day. And it's to introduce our founder, Don Graham. Don's the chair of the Graham Holdings Company, and he's a nationally respected business leader and public newspaper. I told you I couldn't do this without crying. Don served our country in the Vietnam War. He returned and worked as a police officer in Washington, D.C. in what was a very tumultuous time. And one thing you can say about Don, and everyone who has met him has experienced this, he is an extraordinarily compassionate, generous human being. In 2013, Don learned about the plight of dreamers, that you very much wanted a college education and you could not access any money in order to be able to afford it. And Don was determined to fix this. Today, almost 7 years later, in thanks to Don and the generous donors he brought to the table, we have awarded well over 6,000 scholarships. And with you, our graduating class of 2020, We have over 1,500 graduates. None of this could have happened but for Dawn's steadfast belief that every one of you should have the opportunity of a college education no matter where you were born. Dawn, I turn it over to you for your thoughts.
Andy, thank you so much for that generous introduction. I am one of many, many donors to you graduates and you students today. As we begin, it is important to acknowledge the pain and the outrage people across our country feel about what's going on, about the brutal murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis. And I do speak as a former police officer. Our graduates and their families know all too well a different kind of discrimination. We have so much work to do together as a country. My name is Don Graham, and graduates, I have the honor to be one of your biggest admirers. I believe in you. We at TheDream.Us have never held such a ceremony before, and in a way, I wish we were not holding one this year. As Candy said, I wish you were crossing the stage, graduating normally, shaking hands with your president, cheered by your parents and family. And above all, I wish you'd had a chance to party with your classmates, which you have missed. Still, this is a very special day. At graduation ceremonies at every partner college, dreamers quietly graduate and mostly go unnoticed except for your academic attainments. I have spoken at graduation ceremonies at partner colleges, but when I did, I could devote only a couple of minutes to the Dreamer graduates because my job was to talk about all the graduates. But today, we are among ourselves. This is a graduation ceremony for the Dream.Us scholars, and so I get to talk about you. Today, I wish I was the greatest writer in the world. I wish I was Cervantes or Shakespeare. Only then could I find the words to tell you how much I admire you. Where I went to college, they call graduation a ceremony. At colleges for low-income Americans, graduation is a triumph. This graduation is a miracle. You did it, every one of you. Sometime long ago, maybe in 9th grade, maybe in 5th grade, you said to yourself, I'm going to college and I'm going to get a degree. As the years went by, you heard other voices with different messages. Some of you even heard your own high school counselors tell you, you can't go to college. There's no way you can pay for it. But when you heard that, you didn't give up. You somehow decided to work even harder. Your main characteristic, known to all, is a motivation that will not let you quit. This spring, 625 of you are graduating from our partner colleges across the United States. You live here. Here you graduated from high school. The scholars graduating today came to this country at an average age of 5. Yet not one of you received $1 of assistance from the United States government. Not one of you has a Pell Grant. Not one of you could borrow $1 from the US government student loan program. If there is one dreamer in a US high school class, that dreamer is the only student with no access to any federal grants or loans, even if that dreamer is the president of the class, the valedictorian, or the captain of the team, as many of you were. The Californians and Texans among you are lucky. Most of you got no state grants or loans. At the time you enrolled, only 6 states offered grants to undocumented students. And there are among you more than a few students from the 14 states who still won't give dreamers in-state tuition. Some of these states make you pay out-of-state tuition. 1 or 2 make you pay international tuition. In Georgia, dreamers are banned by law from the top state universities, no matter how much you pay. But there are 31 Georgians graduating from college with Dream.Us scholarships, including our student speaker. There are students from 45 countries studying in 17 states. 7 years ago, Henry Munoz, Carlos Gutierrez, and I started TheDream.Us because we were appalled by the educational situation of the Dreamers. Our president, Candy Marshall, and our program director, Gabi Pacheco, were the first two people who came to work. We knew that with 700,000 DACA recipients, there was no way we could help everyone who wanted to go to college. We wanted to help as many as we could. But what should we do with the money we raised? Should we spend it all on tuition and fees for you, or spend a good deal of it on support services? The advice from Gabby and other Dreamers could not have been clearer. Spend every cent on scholarships and trust the motivation of the Dreamers to carry them. One of the best informed education funders in the United States said to Gabby and me, if all you do is provide money to pay tuition and fees, they will all drop out. She said that out of sympathy for you, not hostility, that we should spend more money on other services. We decided to bet on the Dreamers. And look how our dream turned out. Look how our bet turned out. So far, 73% of Dream.Us students attending four-year colleges have graduated from those colleges in 5 years or less. This is far, far higher than the average graduation rate of all students at US colleges, though almost all those students get abundant aid that isn't offered to you, and that includes the children of wealthy people. Among the opportunity scholars, the scholars from Georgia, North Carolina, and the other locked-out states, more than 95% of our first class has graduated in 4 years. Think how anxious you were in high school, worrying about whether college would be an opportunity for you at all. Think how anxious you were in the fall of 2016 when a candidate who had expressed hostility to DACA was elected president. And in September 17, sophomore year for many of you when DACA was rescinded, then year after year, as courts fought over DACA, as one house or another voted on legislation that would have given you something, but that legislation never passed. I am proud of everyone who works at TheDream.Us. Candy Marshall, Gabby Pacheco, Tanya Wilcox, Hain Lee, Elena Solario, Sadhana Singh, and Camila Salkov. 7 people, 3 of them Dreamers. One request to all graduates, please stay in touch with us. Go to TheDream.Us, click on our alumni site and register. We will be working on 2 very hard things. One is employment opportunities for you. The other is graduate school funding. I make no promises about either. I don't know that we can come through with either, but please stay in touch so we can tell you if we have another chance to help you. I am proud of our partner colleges, and I do not need to tell you never to forget your college. They wanted and they supported Dreamers when others did not. Their presidents became our friends and yours. Many of their scholar advisors and faculty became your champions. Every low-income high school student in the United States has boulders placed in their path as they try to go through college. I admire every US citizen student graduating from college this spring, especially the Pell Grant eligible group. I've spent a lot of my life trying to help US citizens in my hometown go to college. But you Dreamers had mountains placed in your path, and you climbed them. The cost of college, the need to work, the need to help your families, finding the money to get DACA status and then to renew it again and again, the car that broke down, the fee that needed to be paid, the endless stress of knowing that family members might face deportation proceedings, the 1,000,001 obstacles that state regulations can put in your way. All young people ask themselves, who am I? Who am I in relationship to my parents, to my environment, to other people? The Dreamers have to ask these same questions in an atmosphere of constant uncertainty, constant confusion, in situations over which you have no control. Your answers to me have been among the most impressive I have ever seen. I will now tell you something that is undoubtedly true, but that not one of you graduates will really believe. One day, you will be as old as I am. I'm 75, by the way. That is true. I know you can't believe it, but you will. Dreamers, imagine yourselves now not only with children, but with grandchildren. Imagine yourselves not only building careers, but retired from them. The coronavirus epidemic of 2020 will still be a searing memory for some of you, for those who are infected with the disease or who have close family and friends who must fight it. Each one of us thinks and honors each one of you. But taking online courses in your senior year, having an online graduation, these will no longer be big things in your lives. But one thing that happened in the spring of 2020 will be a very big part of your lives. You graduated from college. Against all the odds, against all the obstacles life threw at you, you did that. College graduation, your degree, will be a huge part of what happens to you forever. It is the foundation of your careers and your advancement in those careers, the key that will open many more doors, apart from the ones you already opened for yourselves. I admire you more than I can say. I admire your parents, your grandparents, your brothers and sisters who are watching you today with tears in their eyes. As to your future, I believe in you even more. Huge obstacles await you, some of those caused by the pandemic. For you, such obstacles are nothing new. You will succeed because of your education. And above all, you will succeed because you are good men and women, loving and kind to each other and to all. Your values, hard work, decency, faith, and family, are the values of the best of the people for 231 years have called themselves American citizens. And that is what all of you will one day be. I only hope one old man lives long enough to see that day. Thank you. I am proud, dreamers, to have been your graduation speaker today. And I am now proud to introduce a speech and a speaker whom I believe some people in the audience will never forget. Our student speaker, Indira Islas, comes from Gainesville, Georgia. When she graduated from high school, a top student, a member of 2 varsity teams, her home state universities banned her, even from applying, banned her and all other undocumented students. The lesser state universities offered her admission at out-of-state tuition, 3 times in-state tuition. Delaware State University, God bless that university, opened its doors to Indira and 33 classmates from the locked out states. Today, she is a pre-med graduate, summa cum laude, a volunteer for wonderful nonprofits, a medical researcher, and an energetic advocate for undocumented students. Her sisters, Ingrid, a junior, and Imirani, who will start this fall, are also Dream.Us scholars. Ladies and gentlemen, Indira Islas.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Don, for the introduction. Good afternoon, friends, families, and class of 2020. We finally made it. On behalf of all of us, I would like to begin by thanking some of our biggest supporters in the room, the team at TheDream.Us. There are no words to describe how much you all have impacted our lives. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. For us, a college education was only a distant dream. But here we are because we did not give up on believing that this was possible, and because you believed in us. My name is Indira, and it is my honor to be speaking before you all today. The last 2 months have been very hard for everyone, and my condolences to those who have lost loved ones during these times, and the many families struggling in this devastating economy. COVID-19 may have stolen our graduation, but it has not stolen our dreams. My hope is that after this, we come out stronger and not focus too much on the tangible things, but rather the things that we sometimes take for granted, like love, kindness, humility, or even just a smile or a hug. Many of us had to abruptly leave our college campuses and go back home, and that too was challenging. If you live in a household like mine, I am the eldest of 7, there is no such thing as peace and quiet in which to study. But being surrounded by love in a time when love is needed is a blessing. And while this is not the graduation any of us expected, all of our successes, hard work, and sacrifices from the last few years are recognized today and will be with us for years to come. Like many of you, I recall my freshman year like it was yesterday. I was part of the first cohort of Opportunity Scholars and the first class of 34 Dreamers to attend Delaware State University. All of us came from states that effectively barred us from going to college by making it unaffordable. Tuition for Dreamers was 3 times the rate charged to our classmates who were citizens. Arriving at DSU was the first time in our lives we felt welcome somewhere. And within a month, we were greeted in person by Delaware's leaders, including Governor Jack Markell, who said something that I have never forgotten. This is not just an opportunity for you. It is an opportunity for the state of Delaware. We are thrilled to have you. It is sad to see your own home states reject such talent and potential. At that same ceremony, I first met Don Graham. I asked if we could take a picture together, and I said, "Thank you for giving me hope." And he left me with the following words: "I have no doubt that you will succeed. Now it is your job to continue spreading that hope." And being here today is proof that we, together, are spreading that hope, because hope is needed now more than ever. Back home, our group of 34 Dreamers had never felt safe acknowledging that we were undocumented. Few of us had ever told our stories to anyone, but once we were together at DSU, where we all lived in the same dorm, we discovered amazing similarities in our struggles, our family struggles, and our burning desires to excel in spite of adversity. We no longer felt alone. In fact, we felt that for the first time, we could share our stories without being afraid. And that is exactly what we set out to do throughout the last 4 years. So today, I feel that I'm speaking not just for myself, but for all of us, because no matter how different we may be, we now know that we are in this together. I will start by taking us back to freshman year, when everything seemed surreal because we never imagined being there. We were eager to learn and begin our journey, and ready to take on the world. This year also gave us lifelong friendships, long nights at the library, and late night adventures to any fast food places open after 2 a.m. Or if you were a nerdy and rule breaker like me, sneaking past campus security to pull all-nighters in the lab because it was the place where I did my best thinking. Fast forward to today, I can tell you that the 18-year-old who started college 4 years ago is in some ways a different person. Like most of you, I have learned a lot about myself and the world. And as always with us Dreamers, a number of those lessons have come through adversity. We all remember the night of November 8 of our freshman year, when we learned that America, the country that gave us so much opportunity, had elected a president who wanted to send all of us and our parents back to where we came from, and to abolish DACA, our lifeline to the future. We arrived for our sophomore years as the administration rescinded DACA, and any day now, the Supreme Court will either uphold or strike down that action. Just when we were starting to feel unwanted again, Delaware's governor sent all 34 of us a letter, letting us know that Americans like him would not be silent about this. About a month after DACA was rescinded, we created a lobby team that would seek to take our stories to our nation's capital, where we would advocate to members of Congress for permanent DACA legislation. Yes, as a 19-year-old at the time, I was terrified to do this. And yes, we were often hurt by the comments of some congressional leaders. But this alone would not be enough to stop us. This has been our story as Dreamers. In college, as in the rest of our lives, we faced adversity, and then we discovered great strength inside ourselves to rise to meet it. And in the process, we all became stronger as individuals. We also found that we had great friends and allies who wanted to help us succeed. Leaving our families to go to college meant having to worry and wonder each day how they are getting by without us. However, allowing me to move 10 hours away from home to fulfill my dream of going to college turned out to be an easy decision for my parents, because of course, it was their dream before it was mine. During my sophomore year, my family's life took a terrifying turn that may be familiar to many of you. On a November day, my 6 siblings and I sat in the benches of a courtroom in Georgia, where our lives changed forever as we heard the judge deny my dad the opportunity to stay in this country. I returned to school feeling the weight of the world on my shoulders and a loss of motivation. I approached my calculus professor about getting caught up, and as I walked into her office, I couldn't hold back the tears. She hugged me until I was done crying, and after listening to her words of encouragement, I began to feel better. But I also kept thinking about my family's future, and I could not imagine one without them. So I began doing everything possible to keep my family together. I am grateful to tell you that my dad is here today watching this graduation. While the world may have expected me to break, I was determined to not let this define me. During a time when I had control over nothing, the one thing I could control was right in front of me, my education. These last 4 years have tested me in unimaginable ways, but they were also some of the best years of my life. I had the opportunity to travel to many places, meet the most amazing individuals, and sit at the table with our nation's most powerful leaders. Because I decided early on that my parents' sacrifices would not be lost on me, I kept working hard, and am now incredibly blessed to say that I accomplished my goal of graduating summa cum laude. We are at different points in our lives. Some are new parents, some will continue to graduate school, and some may have landed a dream job. But whatever awaits us next, there is no guarantee that adversity will not be among them. As immigrants, we have already faced much adversity, but we have also proven so many wrong along the way. And we will continue to face obstacles, but we cannot let them define us. My hope is that we all remember that what really matters in life is not what other people think, but what we know to be true in our hearts. A mentor of mine once said that no condition is permanent, and that we are not defined by the conditions we face, but rather how we respond to them. While we have all faced challenges that perhaps made us question everything, we never gave up. Yes, we may have failed at times, but we are here today because we did not let that stop us. And because we are here today, this should prove to us just how much more we can accomplish. My friends, this is only the beginning. Let's think about the legacy we want to leave as we trailblaze through life, in our communities and in our world. And when the narrative of our story is written, what do we want it to say? We must never conform to the limitations that others put on us, and never forget that we are capable of accomplishing our dreams. And graduates, as we go forth to turn our dreams into reality, let's never forget that about the inequalities that exist in the world today, and the talents that we all have to make a difference. And to all the parents and guardians who are out there and decided early on that when we were young children, that you wanted to give us a better life, thank you. Because without you and your sacrifices, we would not be here today. Thank you for always being there for us, especially those long nights when we were too overwhelmed by our worries. A todos los padres y familiares que decidieron cuando éramos chiquitos, que querían darnos una vida mejor, gracias, porque sin ustedes y sus sacrificios no estaríamos aquí hoy. And lastly, I would like to dedicate these next few words to my parents. Les quiero dedicar las palabras siguientes a mis padres. Mami y papi, yo sé que hemos tenido un camino con mucha adversidad, pero gracias a Dios hemos estado juntos. Espero que todo lo que yo he hecho ha sido suficiente para enseñarles que los amo mucho y que estoy agradecida por todos sus sacrificios que hacen para mí y mis hermanos. Yo sé que no quieren más que trabajar como los doctores que dejaron de ser en México, pero algún día voy a seguir sus pasos y voy a lograr ser una doctora. Ustedes me dan una razón para seguir adelante y son mi motivación. To all my siblings, I know I am bossy most times, but I hope that I have shown you that you can reach your dreams. I love you all so very much and know that I will always be here for you. Mami, papi, Ingrid, Imerani, David, Idania, Itzel, Liliana, los amo mucho. And graduates, we may not see a clear path to the future yet, but we know that we have great strength inside us and great friends at our back. And so we will keep going no matter what confronts us. I truly believe that each one of us has the capability to be the change that we wish to see in this world. Congratulations, my friends. Here's the TheDream.Us class of 2020.
Indira, I find myself here almost speechless. Thank you for sharing your journey. You and your family have courageously shared your story, as have many of our graduates and their families. And we thank you all because by sharing your stories, you help all Americans understand that immigrants are a part of the fabric of this nation. You are our heart and our soul. One of you shared the phrase, when you see me fly, remember you painted my wings. And what I want to say to you is, as you fly, remember you painted our wings. Thank you all for sharing those. I now have the honor to introduce one of our 2018 graduates, Kai Martin. Kai's earning her master's in public policy at George Washington University. She was born in Trinidad, West Indies, raised in Brooklyn, New York, and Kai earned her degree in pre-law at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Kai is very passionate about serving her community. She volunteers with Immigrants Rising, which is a dear and dear partner of ours. She works with the UndocuBlack Network, and she works with TheDream.Us. We are very proud to have Kai as one of the founding members of our Alumni Council. Adding to her public service, Kai facilitates community workshops in New York and DC on mental health, domestic violence, immigration policies, and race relations. And Kai, I would say to you, in light of the events that have occurred in this last week, that work could not be more important. After graduate school, she's going to continue to provide support services to disadvantaged communities. So Kai, share your thoughts.
Thank you so much, Candy. Graduates, I am moved with emotions, but I want to ask you just to engage with me for a few minutes to acknowledge your present feeling as we reflect on your beautiful journey. While you do this, I want you to take a moment to appreciate yourselves and all of the people who have helped make this accomplishment possible. You see, when you take the time to reflect on these things, you find yourself being thankful that although you've encountered turbulent and yes, very stressful times, you never took your eyes off the prize. You did it, working countless numbers of jobs to support yourselves and, for many of you, your families. You did it, even when the decisions of your legal status caused silent fears within each of you. You did it, even when the coursework became more intense and you felt like throwing in the towel. For each of you, like a great boxer, you entered the ring of life, uncertain of the strength and the challenges. And after every hit, you rose up, stood tall, and each of you lasted until the final round. These, my friends, are the signs of a true leader, one whose strength, resilience, determination, and bravery makes it possible to accomplish anything each of you will set your mind to do. So what's next? Well, it's time to move on to the next great fight. And for some of you, that means entering the ring of your careers, while others will join me and enter the ring of professional studies. While there, you'll learn even greater levels of your own capabilities. But guess what? You'll never throw in the towel when difficulties strike, because you've learned what it meant to be a natural-born winner. I stand here cheering each of you on through your next journeys. And I wanted to remind you that with every face that you see today, your community also stands with you. I want to take this time to invite you to connect with us, one of your fellow alumni speaking, by joining the TheDream.Us Alumni Network. If you haven't joined this network yet, I encourage you to visit the chat box right now. The link is being shared. You can also take this time to connect with me on LinkedIn, search for me, Kai Martin, and just know that I am here to support you with any questions you may have about your career decisions and even graduate school. Like all of the panelists here today and all of your parents and everyone who's here supporting you, I am so proud of each of you, and I'm proud of the champs that you are. Now, it's time to enter the next ring, keep those chin up, and keep fighting until the last round. Each of you, you got this.
Thank you, Kai. Bravo, bravo, bravo. To our graduates, we encourage you to follow in Kai's footsteps. Just as you have been a member of a community of thousands of the Dream.Us scholars, you now are joining a community and a growing community of the Dream.Us graduates. Don't miss this opportunity to follow in Kai's footsteps and be a leader in that community. Thank you, Kai. Okay, we're nearing the end. We have a very special guest to present the class of 2020 and to send you and your families forward with a blessing. Father Stephen Katsaros came into our lives in our early days in this program. He was just starting a new and innovative two-year college at Loyola University in Chicago. He believed that there were Chicago students who would never be able to afford Loyola and yet deserved the opportunity of a robust liberal arts education that would prepare them for life. As he was recruiting his first class, so literally it's the first class, the college hasn't even opened, he found that he had many undocumented students. And he approached us to ask if we could help provide funds to support their education. So imagine the on ground. Hey, Don, there's this college that doesn't really exist, but I think we should sign them on. And it was not a mistake. Father Steve has so embraced the undocumented students at Arupe College. He has helped them get legal counsel. He has ensured that they had advocacy in immigration proceedings. He has gone to the deportation proceedings with our scholars. We could not imagine a person who is more suited to present our class of 2020 and send you on your way with a blessing. Father Steve.
Candy, thank you very much for that beautiful and kind introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, family and friends and members of the Dream.Us community. And most of all, good afternoon and congratulations, class of 2020. Graduates and scholars, you belong. You belong. You belong. Now you're probably thinking, what is this old priest talking about? I belong. Belong to what? Research indicates that if a college student is on a campus where she does not feel like she belongs, she will struggle to persist. She will struggle to succeed. She will struggle to graduate. For a student who is the first in his family to go to college, for a student who is from an underrepresented group on his campus, for a student whose classmates on campus are from more affluent backgrounds than his own, the struggle to belong intensifies. That's what the researchers say. You, however, have persisted. You have succeeded. And now you are graduating. You do belong and you have belonged. You have belonged as a student enrolled in demanding majors at competitive selective institutions. You have belonged studying with demanding professors with high expectations of you because of your intelligence, your drive, your talent. You have belonged participating in student life activities, demonstrating your gifted leadership skills and your unique insights. You belong in American higher education, and American higher education is better, wiser, more informed, and more effective because of you. I say that American higher education is better because of you, because of the concept of solidarity. Authentic solidarity requires a series of conversions that come about through relationships. Solidarity displaces positions of privilege and replaces such positions with new relationships. Only through relationships can we know what advocacy is truly desired. Solidarity is not, I'm helping you. Solidarity is a commitment to walking and learning together. And of course, learning together requires us to be in dialogue with one another, with the understanding that I have much to learn. I have so much to learn from you. Your faculty and staff and administrators and classmates and friends treasure our relationships with you. We treasure solidarity with you. We treasure walking together and learning together with you. We are walking and learning together today during a public health crisis from which our country desires a return to normal. We are in solidarity today with the knowledge that a return to normal is represented to us once again in a tragic, senseless killing of an unarmed man, this time in Minneapolis. That is not the normal to which I want to return. Rather, we need a better normal based on the knowledge of you, of how you have belonged in higher ed, of how you have persisted and succeeded and completed a higher ed degree. We need a better normal based on solidarity with you, walking and learning together. A better normal can be born from your intelligence, from your drive, from your talent, from your leadership, and from your insights. A better normal can be born from dialogue with you. I have experienced a better normal in higher education because of you, because of students like you, because of students present here today during my years at Arrupe College in Chicago. Arrupe College is named for a Jesuit priest named Father Pedro Arrupe. The following quote is attributed to Father Arrupe. He said, "Nothing is more practical than finding God. That is, than falling in love in a quite absolute final way. What you are in love with, what seizes your imagination, will affect everything. It will decide what will get you out of bed in the morning, how you spend your weekend, what you read, who you know, what breaks your heart, and what amazes you with joy and gratitude. Fall in love, stay in love, and it will decide everything." My friends, join me for a moment of prayer and reflection. We pray. Good and gracious God, we give thanks today for the ways we find you in the class of 2020. We give thanks for the countless ways that they fell in love with being a college student during their years of study. We give thanks for what has seized their imaginations during classes, in labs and lectures, during group projects, and solitary studying. We give thanks knowing that they can and will affect everything, that together with them, we can build a better normal. We give thanks for their years of study, for what got them out of bed in the morning, how they spent their weekends, what they read, and whom they met. They amaze us. They fill us with joy and gratitude. We are grateful that they have belonged to us on our campuses and in our classrooms. We are grateful for the solidarity with them, for the walking and learning together. We pray for them and for their families and friends and communities with joy, gratitude, and love, confident that joy, gratitude, and love can and will decide everything. And we make this prayer in your name and the names of our graduates. Amen. Class of 2020, may God abundantly bless you just as you have abundantly blessed us. Thank you.
Thank you, Father Steve. To all of us, no matter what God you follow, no matter what greater force you believe is there, that force is with you as you go forward. It will lift us for our days to come. We are now ready to close our commencement and celebration of our 2020 graduates. For now, we want to thank you for changing our lives and all the lives you will touch as you go forward. Don't stop now, go far, and the mother in me says, wear a mask on the journey.